This is a plastic cup that you'd buy at Walmart or Sam's Club or just about anywhere. So this cup has basically one purpose, and that's to take beverages and fill them up in this cup, and then you drink them. Okay? So a beverage would go in the top, and it would come back out the top as you drink. That's its purpose. If this cup had a hole in it, it would be defective. You would probably just throw it away because it's not worth doing anything about, because, I mean, really, it's a cheap plastic cup. Well, think of this cup as like your operating system that runs on your computer, say Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8.1, or a server operating system like Server 2008, 12, or 16, or 19. Okay? It's an operating system. So when you get this operating system, it looks like this cup. It's designed to do something. It probably does it okay. You're not having any issues. But what you don't know is that when that software was released, there was some vulnerabilities in it. Okay? So it's like a hole in this cup. You just didn't know it was there. The difference is, if there was a hole in this cup, water's going to come out. And you're going to know it because you're holding the cup and you're going to know, oh, this is defective. I need to throw this one away and get another one. But when you have a hole in your software, which we call security vulnerabilities, it's not so much that things are leaking out typically, it's that people can get in. So you're not going to have any real indicators that there's a problem unless someone gets into your system. But so to prevent that from happening, what you need to do is you need to regularly patch your operating system. Because what happens is they're holding up your operating system, and Microsoft and others, and they're going, wonder if I can find a hole in there somewhere. And they'll find a little bit of code or something that's allowing us to control something remotely or to manipulate that operating system in a way it wasn't designed, and saying, oh, okay, I can make this do something from outside the network or inside the network that it's not designed to do and could be used maliciously to steal data, to compromise other systems, and so on. So what will happen is Microsoft will release patches. As soon as they find out there's a hole or a problem, a security vulnerability, they will release a patch, and you need to apply those patches in a timely manner. We don't usually apply them as soon as they come out. We usually apply them a couple of days later, just in case Microsoft has to recall a patch, because that's happened on numerous occasions. And last thing you want to do is release a patch to protect your customer and then take their server down for a day or two because the patch was the problem. Okay? So we want to give it a little bit of time, let other people who like to patch instantly learn that lesson for us, and then we'll patch. Okay, so operating system has holes you don't know about. It's like a cup with holes you don't know about, except instead of things coming out, people can get in. Okay? So that's pretty much where my cup analogy ends. So how do you need to patch your systems? You need to patch them periodically. Microsoft on Windows 10 will release patches pretty much in real time these days. They kind of come out, and in Windows 10 there's only certain patches that you can schedule and do things with yourself. Otherwise they get applied automatically whether you want them to or not. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing in that it's protecting the rest of us, everyone on the internet, from you not patching your system and getting a virus that then tries to attack other systems across the internet or sends out malicious emails or so on. So it's a pretty good thing. It's kind of like vaccinating your children. It protects other people's children from getting diseases. If you're an anti-vaxxer, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to step on your toes. So, you need to get those things patched. Now, here's the ups and downs of patching your computer. If you patch your computers, you don't always want to patch everything that's released by Microsoft. We want to be concerned mostly with security vulnerabilities because that's your real liability. Now, Microsoft releases things called feature updates. You want to run those periodically because they also include patches and updates along the way. They'll have roll-ups and so on and so forth. But what you don't want to do is necessarily install every driver that Microsoft releases. That's going to create you some heartburn. You definitely want to patch your security vulnerabilities. Okay, so one of the issues you run into is Microsoft, like I said before, will release updates or patches or drivers or what have you, and it's going to create headaches for you. So when you do your patching, you need to schedule it, and you need to plan for it so that it's not happening as soon as it's released. And then once you've got a few days down the road, you apply your patches. And then after you apply patches, you always want to reboot your computer, your workstation, or your server, and then make sure it comes up, test all of your software, make sure everything's fully functional, and then once you've done those things, then you're pretty good to keep moving. We use a software called ConnectWise Automate. I had think of the name. We use a software called ConnectWise Automate to control patching for our customers. We also monitor backups and do different stuff. So using a third-party company like ArcLight, if they use the right software tools, and there's different ones out there, when you use a third-party company, they'll control your patching for you, and they'll have a list of monitors running on your server. So when it finishes patching and it reboots the server, it makes sure that mission-critical services are running, like your SQL database. So if you've got an electronic medical record systems, a accounting package or something like that, it's going to make sure that when it reboots, that those services start. And if they don't start, it's going to send an alert. And your patching people should be doing that after hours, not during working hours, and then make sure everything comes up, and if it doesn't, they then would react to those alerts and verify that everything is functional. So that's pretty much all there is to patching. Is we do recommend that you have someone manage it for you to verify patches are being applied, because even if you turn on automated patching, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the patches. There's been all kinds of bugs in Microsoft's patch engine over the years that's going to prevent that. So you need to have an engine that can look at, or an agent-based system that can look at the patches, report on your patch level, and let you know where you're at, which is, again, that's what we do. Your provider may already do that. If they don't, you might ask them if they can institute something like that. And lastly, you really want to make sure that you're patching all of your software, not just your operating system. So SQL Server has quite a few vulnerabilities in it if it goes unpatched that really could get you in a lot of trouble, especially if your server is internet facing. So like a website or a electronic medical record systems that your patients can go in and log in and create data, look at their data, and so on. If that's internet facing, then you definitely have a vulnerability there if you're not keeping them patched. Plus, PCI compliance, HIPAA compliance, pretty much every regulation known to man requires that you keep your systems up to date, at least within a decent amount of time. You need to keep them up to date. So you might go a few days, like I said, without patching, just to make sure none of the patches create any problems. So you've also got free software we all load on our computers, Adobe Reader. If I don't need to edit and modify PDFs, but I just want to read them, I might get Adobe Reader and install it on my computer. Adobe Reader has an auto-update feature, which is great. That should be on. If you turn that feature off or you stop that service from being able to run, you're going to have an obsolete Adobe Reader. And what that means is, now you might get an email from someone, computer's fully patched, no vulnerabilities on the system that you know of, but Adobe Reader is not up to date. So someone sends you an invoice PDF that's malicious. It looks legit, they've spoofed someone that normally sends you invoices, or they compromise their system and sent you an invoice, and now you've got this PDF. So you open it thinking, really, what harm could a PDF do? Well, there was a vulnerability reported on May 23rd of 2019, so last month, not that long ago. That was for Adobe Reader, and it was a rating of 10. That's the highest rating for a vulnerability that you can get on the cvedetails.com website. And that vulnerability would allow remote code execution on your computer. So you open that Adobe PDF, it could possibly cause your computer to install a virus, download something from the internet. It could just totally wreak havoc on your entire environment if you fall for that type of exploit because you haven't been keeping your software up to date and you clicked something that looked legit but was not. So that's really about all I've got. So just try to remember that keeping your systems up to date is a very critical part of securing your environment. It's something that we do for all of our customers, both workstations and computers. We can also update Adobe and other software that is specialized for your organization, kind of the common software across the board. If you have any questions or comments or would like to learn more about what we can do to help secure your environment, feel free to reach me at the information on your screen, and also comment down below. I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. Thanks, and have a great rest of your week.